Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I hope that this video finds you well. There's a snake, there's a traitor, there's a backstabber within the Trump administration that has been exposed. So as you all know, yesterday there were text messages leaked of war plans from, Pete Hegseth and many others, Mike Walls within the Trump administration. How did they leak? Well, a anti-Trump, Trump-hating journalist was added by accident to this chat log. And everybody's going at Mike Walls and saying, you did it. Well, there is now evidence to show Mike Walls is not the guy who put that anti-America, anti-Trump journalist in the chat, but somebody else did. And I know who it is. They were just exposed. Ladies and gentlemen, but not only were they exposed, this person's wife has been exposed for going after J6ers. So think about this. A female worked for the Biden administration, going after J6ers, and now her husband is working for the Trump administration and adding anti-Trump journalists to secret chats. This is crazy. Do me a huge favor as soon as you're in. Smash that thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed. Leave me a comment. Where are you tuning in from? And ladies and gentlemen, today's sponsor is VERITY Metals. Ladies and gentlemen, I go to them for all my gold and silver questions and precious metals. This is a Patriot family-owned company. My personal good friend, Matthew Geiger, is the owner. If you call or text 480-717-9081, that's his personal number. Tell him Vlad sent you. Get free silver on your next order. Links are down below in the description. Thank you. Let's get right into it. So we're jumping onto my Twitter. There's a couple things I want to share. Number one, Alina Habba came out yesterday and said, breaking, Alina Habba warns anyone whose name is on the Epstein list, stating that those involved, quote, will be prosecuted. I hope so. So here is who is the traitor in the Trump administration. Laura Loomer actually exposed it. She was the first to dig into everything and get us a name. Listen to this. Alex Wong, the Chinese Deputy National Security Advisor appointed by President Trump, who is at the center of the Signalgate scandal, is married to U.S. Attorney Candace Chu Wong, a Chinese woman who was one of the key attorneys involved in prosecuting J6ers. Let me read that again. Alex Wong, the Chinese Deputy National Security Advisor appointed by President Trump, who is at the center of the Signalgate scandal, is married to U.S. Attorney Candace Chu Wong, a Chinese woman who was one of the key attorneys involved in prosecuting J6ers. Alex Wong was appointed by President Trump on 11/22/24 to serve as the assistant to the president and the principal deputy national security advisor under Mike Walls. Now, the newly appointed U.S. National Security Advisor. She goes on to say, I have discovered that Alex's wife, Candace Chu Wong, worked under the Obama administration and the Biden administration as an assistant to the United States Attorney in the United States Attorney's Office for District of Columbia, where she led the violence reduction and trafficking offenses section for more than 2 years. So Wong, who now works for Trump, his wife used to work for Obama and Biden. How the hell does this guy work for Trump? Let's continue. She was involved in the prosecution of many J6ers during the Biden regime, under which she was nominated to become a member of the United States Sentencing Commission. Additionally, Candace Chu Wong served as a law clerk to Obama-appointed U.S. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Making matters worse, Alex Wong worked for Covington and Burling, which is one of the law firms that President recently stripped of its security clearance and terminated all of their government contracts via executive order on February 25th, 2025. Trump accused Covington LLP of being involved in the weaponization of government. So she used to work for the law firm that Trump stripped of their, rights and government contract, and says that they helped the Joe Biden regime go after Trump and weaponize the DOJ against Trump and patriots. It gets crazy. She goes on to say, why do we have Chinese deputy national security advisor who is married to a Chinese U.S. attorney who worked under Obama and Biden, who helped prosecute January 6ers after the stolen 2020 election? This is unacceptable. And given the Chinese connections, it really makes you wonder if Jeffrey Goldberg, the reporter from the Atlantic, was added to the Trump signal chat on purpose as part of a foreign operation to embarrass the Trump administration on behalf of China. Alex Wong should be removed from his position, and both he and his wife should be investigated by the FBI. Here are some of the receipts. So, Donald Trump, second term, statement by President-elect Donald J. Trump announcing the appointment of Alex Wong as assistant to the president of Principal Deputy National Security Advisor and Dr. Sebastian Gorka as deputy assistant to the president and senior director for counterterrorism. So here's the receipts. Trump appointed this guy. This is Mike Walls then talking about it on 11/22/24. He wrote on Twitter, on X, I am thrilled to have Alex Wong on the NSC as President Trump's principal deputy national security advisor. Alex has a proven record of delivering results during President Trump's first term, where he helped negotiate the historic summits with Kim Jong-un that stabilized relations. We will have an essential role in helping keep America safe. Sure. Here is Candace Chu and Alex Wong. Candace Chu and Alex Nelson Wong were married Saturday evening at a Dar Memorial Continental Hall in Washington. The officiant was Sandra Day O'Connor, the retired United States Supreme Court Justice, for whom the bride was a clerk from July 2011 to July 2012. See, there's evidence that she worked for an Obama-appointed Supreme. And there's more of who she is. Ladies and gentlemen. and my number one fear came to pass. My number one fear happened in front of us. What's the one thing that I've said many times on this show? I pray and I hope that Trump does not repeat the worst mistake of his first administration. That was hiring people into his administration that were not MAGA. Hiring people that actually secretly hated him. Like, first time he had Mike Pompeo and Mike Pence. Traitors, but they smiled in Trump's face and they made great promises. Oh, let me go back. I shared this earlier. I said, it looks like Alex Wong added Jeffrey Goldberg to the chat. You simply can't make the mistake of adding a journalist to your group unless they are in your contacts. If Alex Wong is responsible for adding him, he needs to be immediately fired, and they need to stop using Signal for Department of Defense conversations permanently. This is the guy. This is the guy that added the journalist that said Trump is a racist, is a fascist, is anti-America, and is an embarrassment to our nation. This guy has that journalist saved in his contact. This guy communicates with that journalist. This guy hangs out with an anti-Trump journalist, but at the same time now works for the Trump administration, while his wife used to work for the Obama and Biden administration, used to work for a firm that helped the DOJ go after Trump, the Biden DOJ, and his wife went after J6ers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a huge mistake. This is a huge mistake made by Trump. At the end of the day, the buck stops with Trump. How was this allowed to happen? How was this? How did this pass? But let me explain how it happened. From election night to inauguration day, the president has to fill 14,000 jobs. 14,000 jobs. I mean, 14,000 jobs is how many, so from election night, November 5th to January 20th, president-elect has to fill 14,000 jobs. This is one of the jobs that needs to be filled. And look, this is the guy that somehow slipped through. Ladies and gentlemen, slipped through. How did it happen? Who advised Donald Trump? Whoever advised Trump to hire this guy needs to be fired and needs to be investigated. Was it an accident? Was it an honest mistake? Or is there something bigger? Are they getting paid by other governments? Is Trump's administration, has it already been infiltrated? So many questions are going off in my mind now. To say this, and as you all know, I love Trump. I'm a huge Trump supporter. I've been doing this from, fighting for the MAGA movement since the stolen election of 2020. But I'll tell you this, the leaking of the text messages and what we had yesterday is one of the biggest Department of Defense failures and one of the most embarrassing administration scandals that our nation has seen in the last decade, if not more. It is really, really bad. The whole world right now is watching and saying, look at Trump. Look at Trump, his own, he's got, Trump, those that hate him talking to his Department of Defense. He's got people working for him while that dude's wife used to prosecute his supporters and prosecuted him. Yes, I gotta agree with this one. Leaking also occurred. Leaks have occurred. Don't get me wrong. Leaks occur during every administration. But what happened yesterday was not a leak. What happened yesterday was, number one, we find out that one of the most anti-Trump people, that woman's husband works for Trump. And then the most Trump-hating journalist in the nation was in a Trump administration chat. It's much worse than a leak. It's like, imagine this. I'll compare it to this. Joe Biden hiring Steve Bannon into his administration. This is what it's like. The most anti-Biden, the loudest voice, the guy who calls for prosecution of Biden all the time. The Biden crime family needs to go to prison. And then Biden hires him. And again, I see the comments of the balloons. What I'm saying is there was a secret conversation happening between Trump's most trusted officials. And then there was an anti-Trump journalist reading every comment. Reading every comment. A leak is a one thing. This is a traitor. There is a traitor in the Trump administration. Tom, thank you. It could be that he was bribed. It could be that he was bribed. But here's what we got to understand. His wife has been a Democrat for a long time, anti-Trump for a long time. I think it goes higher than this. Is it Mike Walls? Who is it? I trust Pete Hegseth. That's not even crossing my mind. Could it be that Mike Walls is undermined? And so, as you all know, yesterday there were huge Senate hearings, right? I want to show you this clip. Where is it? Now, remember how, because Pete Hegseth used to have a drinking problem back in the day? This was a long time ago. But now, Democrats are running that Pete Hegseth is getting drunk again. Right? So now they're just smearing Pete. I want to play you this clip. Thank goodness for this person saying for that Director Ratcliffe shut this Democrat up.
To your knowledge, do you know whether Pete Hegseth had been drinking before he leaked classified information?
I don't have any knowledge of Secretary Hegseth's personal habits.
Director Radcliffe, same question. Yes or no?
You know, no, I'm going to answer that. I think that's an offensive line of questioning. The answer is no. I find it interesting that you want to. No, I'm going to answer. You asked me a question. You want an answer?
No, listen.
You don't want to focus on the good work that the CIA is doing, that the intelligence community.
Director, I reclaim my time. Director, I reclaim my time. Here, I have huge respect for the CIA, huge respect for our men and women in uniform. But this was a question that's on the top of minds of every American, right? He stood in front of a podium in Europe holding a drink. So of course, we want to know if his performance is compromised. If people were asking if the General Austin was compromised because of a heart issue.
Was his performance compromised because of a successful strike?
Back. Mr. I bring my
you want to know? You want to talk about accepting responsibility?
Here's the thing: when the Democrats, we didn't see the Democrats freak out like this when Joe Biden killed 13 American veterans, Marines in Afghanistan. Joe Biden killed them. His incompetence killed them. Let's get that clear. The difference between now and then is because then the media, they work for the Democrats. The media, they cover for the Democrats. The media, they spin stories on behalf of Democrats, but they do the same, just in reverse for us. They don't cover and they will spin it into a negative. With the Democrats, what the media does to the Democrats, they'll take a negative story and they'll flip it into a positive. When it comes to the conservatives, and especially the Trump administration, they'll take a positive and spin into the negative. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up with this. Our president needs our prayers right now. So if you're a believer, if you're a man or woman of faith, pray for Trump. Pray for the spirit of wisdom upon him, for the spirit of guidance and understanding. Pray for his team. I know we always pray for Trump. Let's pray for his team as well, so that in the name of the Lord Jesus, he will have wise, intelligent, America-loving, God-fearing team. Because you can only go as far as good as your team is. You're only as good as your team. Yes, they are trying to tarnish Trump administration. So we need to pray for his team as well. Pray for Trump, pray for Vance, pray for his team. Because you can be a great leader. You can be an amazing leader. But if your team is not loyal, if they don't if they are not a part of, if they don't see what you see as a vision for the nation or the mission, you're not going to go far. And we're seeing it. We're just over 2 months into that administration, and we see what the Democrats are doing with the judges. By the way, later tonight, I'm going to be uploading a video about the judges. These judges that are fighting Trump, 60% of them are not even American. Okay, I'm an immigrant, right? I came here, I was 6 years old. Many of them lived the first 20 years of their life somewhere else. Like completely un-American. Like for me, yes, I wasn't born here. I came here, I was 6. I know nothing else. I grew up here. I started first grade here. Only thing I remember from the motherland, Kyrgyzstan, is how hungry we always were. That's literally my earliest childhood memory is hunger. But those guys, you know, those very important years when you develop and you're grounded in what you believe in, they didn't even live here. Not only that, but the money that they get from other countries, I'm gonna expose that later on tonight. You'll see me upload a video, so make sure you are subscribed. But ladies and gentlemen, pray for our president. Pray for his team. Pray for his family. Pray the spirit of wisdom and counsel and understanding be upon him. We need that. We really need that, and his entire team. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll keep you updated on that story. I'm going to stay tuned. We're going to see how this all develops. We're going to see who gets exposed, who gets fired. We'll see. It's all just starting to come out. We'll see how this all plays out. God bless you. Give the video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. I love each and every single one of you guys. I'm out.